Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Welcome to the long weekend, Primetime viewers. Josh Ryan, as always, joined by Abby St. John. One more night of news, weather, sports, and more before you enjoy your 3 days off. The last real chance you get, obviously, before the school year. And because of our question of the day, I think I'm going to try reading a book for the weekend.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, that's pretty fitting. But no, I think everyone's very excited that it's the long weekend finally. And, you know, it's the second last long weekend before school is officially here, so it's going to be good.
Yeah, obviously, people will be busy at work already, and we might get to talk about that later. First, though, we're going to go out onto location, or from earlier today, where Eric Bay was settled.
Thanks, guys. Well, today we are out here at the Lloydminster Cultural and Science Center, and we're taking a look at some of the stuff you can check out here as we head into that one of those final long weekends here this summer. And what we are taking a look at is Heritage Day, which will be coming up here on Monday, so that'll be a good opportunity to check out some stuff. They have definitely a cool stuff going on here at Rendell House, some tours and some other stuff that we will be checking out here coming up. But before that, we'll head back to the studio, and Abby will take a look at your local news.
This evening kicks off the Heritage Day long weekend, but before you hit the road, local RCMP are reminding people to drive cautiously this weekend. RCMP are encouraging people to make safe driving and a priority this weekend by not operating a vehicle under the influence or driving while distracted.
It's important for the people of the community of Lloydminster to be aware of when they're drinking alcohol, to have a designated driver or a safe ride home, not just a long weekend. However, this long weekend we will be focusing on impaired driving within our city in order to ensure that our public and our community is safe.
There were 8 fatalities and 39 injuries during last year's August long weekend in Alberta. From January to June of 2019, over 5,000 distracted driving related tickets were issued in Alberta. With all the increased amounts of vehicles on the road, the RCMP are trying to keep the community safe.
It's a criminal offense to drive when you're impaired by alcohol. And secondly, for the safety of our community and the safety of the public, always have that designated driver. We have taxi cabs within our city. You can plan ahead by having a friend or a relative pick you up after you maybe have a couple beers out at the campsite or within our community.
RCMP also emphasized for drivers to stay off their phones, obey traffic lights and road signage, and to be a defensive driver. Business is booming in Marwayne, and our Jasmine King finds out how a local mother of 4 is taking her business to new heights and going international.
Beauty from Bees is a locally owned store in Marwayne with over 50 products, including shampoos and conditioners. They pride themselves on being a store that offers natural products without steroids.
When I was pregnant 10 years ago with my first baby, I couldn't find good enough products on the market. So I started to kind of create my own and mess around and make things here and there. And the products ended up being really good. I would gift them to friends. And then after having 4 babies and kind of finally being ready to sell them, I decided to start up at the farmers markets and just kind of do some things here and there.
Michelle balances both her business and her kids daily, a task that can be difficult but worth it for being able to do her passion each day.
It's crazy. Some days it's easier than others for sure, but it's hectic and they come with me. They kind of have an area in the shop that they can play. My older kids go to school, but I just like to make it work. I like to be present for them, but also do this, which is what I love.
Beauty from Bees is also currently expanding to the U.S. as the products are featured in a celebrity-owned store in Nashville.
Kristen Cavallari, she owns Uncommon James, and we got some samples out to her, and she loved them. Her and her head buyer we were dealing with, and yeah, they picked them up, and now they're for sale at her store, which is really exciting. I don't think I can actually really grasp it. I'm like, I need to take a trip there. I want to see the products. I've seen little glimpses of them on the shelves. It's totally surreal.
As Beauty from Bees is a family-owned company ran by a mom of 4, if the products aren't up to her own standards, they wouldn't get the time of day in her store.
My name is stamped all over everything, and if the ingredients aren't good enough for me to use on my own kids, I would never sell it.
You can get Beauty from Bees products from her store and her website, as well as the Home Hardware and more locations in Lloydminster. Jasmine King, Primetime Local News.
Now we're going to Eric Bay, who is on location today.
Once again, we are back here at the Lloydminster Cultural and Science Center, and we are talking about Heritage Day coming up here this weekend, and I'm joined now by Sarah Hawkridge. So first off, can you tell us a little bit about what is Heritage Day and what's going on?
Heritage Day is our annual event where we pay homage to our pioneers, the folks that came here from England. They settled in this area before it was a town, before it was even Alberta and Saskatchewan. It was still Northwest Territories, and we really want to honor their sacrifices, their struggles, their successes in building the town that we now know as Lloydminster.
And now obviously a big event day planned, tons of stuff going on. So what are some of those events you guys do have happening here?
We start the day with a pancake breakfast sponsored by the Lloydminster and District Co-op at 8:30, and then all the activities start at 10 o'clock. We've got everything from dog shows to horse riding, blacksmithing and rope making demonstrations, all kinds of fun things that are hands-on and a lot of learning opportunities and just fun for everyone.
And now speaking of that, when will this be happening this weekend and how can people come out and attend?
So the event is absolutely free for everyone to attend. It's Monday, August the 5th here in Weaver Park, and we also have some activities inside the Cultural Center. So you can access Weaver Park through the main gates or come through the front doors of the Cultural Center on Monday.
All right, thank you for this. We are going to have some more back from here once again talking about Heritage Day at the Lloydminster Cultural and Science Center. But before that, we are going to head back into the studio.
Thank you very much, Eric. 28 degrees right now in the border city. Some cloud cover, but it's been a largely sunny afternoon and still largely sunny in the center of town. That shouldn't change much over the next hour. 32 degrees in 1983 was your record high, while 5 was your record low back in 2002, which was, as we've seen the last couple of weeks, generally a pretty cool July and early August in the border city. Winds are fairly strong at the moment, 20 kilometers and above that, so expect a breeze throughout the rest of the evening to certainly take some of the bite off of that heat. Watches and warnings, you do have a thunderstorm watch in effect for the Lakeland region and further out into the northern portion of Alberta. Vegreville also in that region at the moment. Vermilion, Marwayne, Lloydminster, most of the Midwest, clear at the moment. Same for the Battlefords, while there is also a heat warning at the bottom of the map here, so just in Macklin and just south of that as well. Some areas where they're close to high 20s or low 30s rather of temperatures are in that heat warning range. Current temperatures here 20 in Jasper and Edson. Red Deer's nice and balmy at 30 degrees. Edmonton also sitting at 28. North Battleford at 30 and Saskatoon enjoying a nice sunny 33 degrees as well. And their 3-day forecast, 22 and 15 coming up tomorrow. There is another chance of a thunderstorm, but a lower percentage still, with west-northwest winds still remaining fairly stingy at 24 kilometers per hour. High of 22 expected tomorrow with a low of 10. The wind at least will calm down a little bit, and there should be some more sunlight. Then 24 and 12 on Monday with a fair amount of sun and even calmer winds, though still coming out of the west-northwest. So it's shaping up to be a fairly sunny long weekend on only an outside chance of rain for those hanging around this region tomorrow afternoon. That's been your 3-day. We'll have your 7-day later on in the show.
Welcome back. Well, harvest is still weeks away, but farmers are already looking ahead to next year. Between hail damage, high winds, heavy floods, and drought, Nick Cornea says his crops near Briquest, Saskatchewan have taken a beating. Cornea, who grows wheat, lentils, canola, and flax, says they're not bumper crops, but better than what he thought they would be. He says the late rain set many crops back a few weeks, and high winds dried out much of the top layer of soil, adding more stress to the plants. He's hoping for at least 2 inches of rain to salvage his crops. And now we're going to take a look at your egg prices.
We're a part of less than 5% of Canadian auto body shops and Lloydminster's only locations with certified collision care recognition at City Centre Auto Body.
This off-season has been far from quiet for the Lloydminster Bobcats as they continue to retool their roster ahead of the upcoming season. The team's biggest move this summer has been a 6-player swap with the Fort McMurray Oil Barons, and Josh Park takes a look at what these changes mean for the team.
When Nigel Dubé and his staff took over the helm for the Bobcats in November of 2018, they called it a reset. And since that time, head coach and general manager Dubé has done his part to shape this roster, and some of the most drastic moves coming this offseason. One of those being a multiplayer deal with the Fort McMurray Oil Barons. The trade saw the Bobcats ship out defenseman Andrew Smiley, as well as forwards Hunter Lamb and Logan Bromhead. In return, the Bobcats have received a pair of 2001-born forwards in Chad McLean and Nolan Coventry, as well as veteran defender Gunnar Kinneberg.
Well, it was a big one that we were actively after Chad, Nolan, and Gunnar earlier in the year when we moved guys at the deadline in January. And there was a team that we were talking to about those guys, and then at the time it just didn't work out. And we wanted to make some change. We made significant change here in the offseason, and those were guys that we wanted to find a way to get.
The Bobcats have received some criticism following the big trade, as the team dealt their 2 top scorers from last season in Lamb and Bromhead. But Dubé stresses that the recent roster changes are all part of the plan for this team.
And that's been a common question, that am I worried about that? No. We're getting 2 18-year-olds that did great things as 17-year-olds in the league and in depth lineup, and they've had good production the whole way coming up.
The Bobcats recently made another transaction, this time with the Camrose Kodiaks, acquiring Tyler Schendel for Josh Lester. Dubé and Schendel actually spent some time together while Dubé served on the Kodiaks coaching staff, and that was part of the reason they decided to bring him in.
Well, with Schendel, we got veteran experience in there, and from my time coaching Camrose, I know him and his family very well, and we were looking to add some leadership into the group that we were bringing in.
Your first chance to take a look at this retooled roster will be on August 28th in a preseason tilt with the Spruce Grove Saints. Josh Park, Primetime Local Sports.
And now we're going to Eric Bay, who is on location today.
Once again, we are back here at the Lloydminster Cultural and Science Center, and we've been talking about Heritage Day, which is coming up here this Monday, and I'm joined once again by Sarah Hawkridge. Now we're standing in front of the Rendell House. Can you tell us what's going on here on Monday?
Rendell House is the first timber-framed house that was built in Lloydminster by the Rendell family. So we have it open. We'll be offering tours, providing some history of the family and how the house was used. We also have a recipe book from one of the family members that was actually born in this house. And so we're stealing from her recipe book a recipe for ginger beer. We'll be providing samples of that.
And now those samples, I'm sure that's definitely something people are going to want to check out. What time will those be provided kind of throughout the day so people can check that out?
The tours of the Rendell House, as well as the samples of ginger beer, will start at 10 o'clock, and they'll be offered while supplies last. If we run out, because of supplies, we'll go until we run out.
And now we did walk by the stage earlier. You guys do have some music and performances going on, so can you tell us a little bit about what that is too on Monday?
Certainly. I have a band coming in at about 8:30 in the morning to play some music while we're finishing our setup, and at 10 o'clock the Prairie Dogs take the stage, and then we also have some local youth that will be taking the stage throughout the day as well.
Awesome. And now as well, you guys do have some tractors and horses going on Monday, so can you tell us what people can look forward to from that as well?
I have 2 teams of horses that are coming that will take a ride through the Rendell Forest. And I also have a lot of tractors on display. The Heritage Society will be running a tractor parade at 2 o'clock.
And now we've been talking Heritage Day. I know it's pretty important to kind of learn about the history of the area and stuff like that. So what would you say, I guess, is what people should check out, and kind of to you, what's kind of most important about a day like Heritage Day?
I think it's important to share the stories and share the history. A lot of the bar colonists have passed on, and we just want to honor their story and honor their way of life. When they were starting, they had no farming experience, and somehow they were still able to build their barns and their homes and their homesteads. So we want to honor that.
All right, thank you for this. We're going to have some more back from here once again, but before that, we are going to head back into the studio.
Another look at your watches and warning map. There is still a thunderstorm watch in the Lakeland region and further west into Alberta. We're safe at the moment in the Midwest and in the Battlefords as well, though some areas in the south are underneath a heat warning. You can see the heat over the next 24 hours only cooling down a little bit overnight. We're going to go all the way into 1 a.m. before the temperature drops below 20 degrees, and then we're expecting a low of 17. So that is a warm evening indeed. Right back up into the 20s by noon. And again, very consistently warm over the course of the day, fair amount of sunlight, an outside chance, of course, of a thunderstorm later in the day, but still an outside chance is all that it is at the moment. Wind chill will affect the temperature a little bit, so while it may be 21 degrees, it'll feel closer to 14, 15 at times when we have some gusts of 25 to 30 kilometers, maybe stronger than that, even 40 kilometers at points in the day, though by the time we get to the afternoon, things calm down a fair amount and you'll feel the full blast of the summer heat. 28 degrees in both Marwayne and Pierceland, and in Vermilion, Vegreville, and Edmonton. Lac-La-Biche a little cooler at 26 degrees, Bonnyville at 25. It gets warmer when you go south, 33 in Provost, 32 in Mackland, and 30 in North Battleford. Still pretty warm on the Sask side with 28 in both Meadow Lake and St. Walburg. Green Lake at 29 degrees, Maidstone sitting at 28 degrees as well. And a bit of a disconnect between the maps there. North Battleford is apparently warmed up to 30 degrees. They're expecting a low of 15 overnight as the wind shifts from the southeast to the south, then to the west-northwest by tomorrow, where they're expecting a high of 24. Mostly sun with a decent amount of cloud cover still, 29 in Cold Lake with south-southeast winds of 13 kilometers per hour. That will shift to the west by tomorrow. Expecting some rain overnight and a little bit of rain in the morning as well, but also some sunny periods where they'll have a high of 22 degrees. And in Lloydminster, again, 28 degrees, expecting a low of 15. The cloud cover will pick up a bit more this evening, but still a warm evening ahead. Then 22 for tomorrow. An outside chance of a thunderstorm right now, 40% chance of precipitation, but largely a sunny day with west-northwest winds still in the 24-25 kilometer range and some gusts possibly quicker than 30 kilometers. Similar high on Sunday, but a cooler evening at 10 degrees, then 24 and 12 on Monday to finish off your long weekend. Right when the weekend's gone, we have another chance of a thunderstorm. 20 and 13, more than 50% chance of precipitation on Tuesday. Then Wednesday, 21 and a low of 11. 24 degrees on Thursday with a little bit of cloud cover, and a largely sunny day on Friday with a high of 21 degrees. So just a little bit below seasonal averages to finish off those 7 days. We'll have one more look later for you in the show, and for now, we'll take a short break.
Now we're going to Eric Bay, who was on location today.
Once again, we are back here at the Lloydminster Cultural and Science Center, and we've been talking about Heritage Day, which is happening here on Monday, and I'm joined now by Dick Airy. So first off, can you tell us a little bit about Heritage Day and kind of its importance?
Well, the importance of Heritage Day is just to give young people an idea of what the early settlers worked with and what they went through and what the hardships were, and learn how they made a living.
And now obviously you guys are putting a ton of work into this, so can you maybe talk about all the hard work you guys have been putting in to get this show on the road?
Well, all our equipment is not new, of course. It's old, and it takes special care and special technique to make it run, and of course sometimes we have some leaky ones that we have to put water back into and the like, but most everything, we can crank it and start it, and away we go,
And now, obviously, you guys have a ton of stuff happening here on Monday, so can you just give us a little taste of what people can expect and look forward to coming up?
Well, what we're going to have is we just put together a display where we're going to grind some wheat into livestock feed, actually. And then we've got a baler that we haven't set up for a few years, so we're going to set that up. It's an old wire tie baler, and people can watch that run. And we have some stationary engines, and we have a primitive 32-volt light plant that we've had here for a number of years, that when farmers got to the point where they could afford it, they wanted electric lights just like the people had in the city, so they bought these power plants.
All right, and now obviously you've put a ton of work in yourself, so maybe just for you, what's the importance to you of Heritage Day and being able to show off all this stuff?
Well, I just kind of enjoy working with the old equipment and appreciating what the engineers of that day put into it, and how well it was built considering what they had to work with.
All right, thank you so much for doing this. We're going to have some more back from here at the Lloydminster Cultural and Science Center talking about Heritage Day coming up here on Monday this weekend. But before that, we are going to head back into the studio.
receiving feedback, but not as many specific answers as we'd like. So if anyone wants to chime in with their favorite book to read during the summer, what kind of book they want to read during the summer, which is our question of the day, please do so on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. One suggestion we did get was Grit and Glory, the 40 years of the Edmonton Oilers. As a Flames fan, that doesn't concern me at all. But I mean, kind of looking back on something nostalgic, I guess, is as good as any to enjoy in the summer.
Yeah, I mean, and it really doesn't have to be a specific summer book because, you know, everyone has their different preferences on what they read. But it's nice to, you know, sit outside in the sun or on the beach and read a good book, whatever book that you'd like to read. I think that's just, it's just a very relaxing way to spend your time.
And as you said, you could find something relaxing by just looking at travel magazines, yes. Or you could read a hard-boiled detective novel and find that just as relaxing.
Exactly. Books are very preference to the person's likes and dislikes. That's why there's so many books and so many different categories and like genres for books and stuff. So it's a wide variety.
And also, of course, it's a good mental exercise, yes. Certainly to read. Sometimes, as much as I love a movie, it's good to actually read the fine print once in a while. No fine print here. We just got the Pet of the Day competition. We have our winner today as well, don't forget. So let's see if these 5 will have a shot at that title. And we'll start with Tato.
Adorable. Just so cute. Just sitting in the little basket. Just adorable.
They do love their landing spaces. Bandit and Smokey continuing the feline trend.
Just adorable. How they're cuddling. I love that.
Yeah, you don't see as many dogs do that. Toby is also cuddly, though.
So cute. Just adorable. Probably was disturbed by having to take the picture, but still cute.
Yeah, he's probably wondering why they won't let him sleep. And Bowie, it looks like, can't be trusted to run outside.
But I can tell that he has very gorgeous blue eyes, and it's just very cute.
And we'll end with Oreo.
Aw, just adorable. Just so cute.
Well, these have all melted Abby's away. Can they win the Pet of the Day or Pet of the Week competition? You have to make sure you send in the name and the picture.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
Welcome back to Primetime Local News, and happy Friday, everybody, as we head into the long weekend. Those are always exciting. For me, anyway. I hope they're exciting for everyone else as well. Josh Park in town, so we're going to do a JRJP rapid fire to get you set for sports this weekend, also heading into the rest of the month, because it's actually a much busier month than people think. Starting with things locally, we have the CPCA, obviously, this weekend in Frog Lake. They just had a rain out, so they kind of need good weather to happen.
Yeah, rain has not been on the friendly side for the CPCA this season, Josh. I was chatting with BJ Carey, and he was saying that the amount of rainouts they've had this year is unprecedented comparing to former seasons that they've had. So obviously coming down the final stretch here, a couple of main storylines. Ray Mitsui coming into his final CPCA season. Todd Baptiste still leading the way, so it's definitely going to be a good stretch coming down the end here.
Hopefully it stays as close as it has been. Obviously, you have a range of about 7 or 8 drivers that could still make that Final Four that, of course, is here in Lloydminster, third weekend of the month, which we will get to later. On the pro side of things, also this weekend, you have the Rogers Cup kicking off August 3rd. So tomorrow, big event, obviously, with the amount of talent we now have on the Canadian side of things. Who's your favorite young gun coming out of that tennis crop?
As you just mentioned it, Josh, there's a lot of up-and-coming Canadian young tennis stars that are on the rise right now. Bianca Andreescu, Denis Shapovalov, Milos Raonic, obviously not as much on the younger side, but my favorite for sure is Denis Shapovalov. We've seen him put on a pretty good showing at a couple of major opens already for him in his young career, but I'd like to see what Denis Shapovalov can do in this Rogers Cup.
And obviously this was where he broke into being on the famous side of things. He got into the top 100, got into the top 50 thanks to his run at the Rogers Cup, I guess it was 2 years ago now. He's had a bit of a tough grass court season, so it'll be nice to see him back on the hard court. Going back to local sports, the following weekend we have the AA Senior Provincials, where the Border City Jays will try to defend their title, which I believe is a third year in a row title.
Yeah, this is going to be the Border City Blue Jays going for back-to-back provincial champions. Obviously not necessarily the end to the regular season that the Border City Blue Jays wanted, 13-0 in the regular season, sweeping the first round of the playoffs, and then losing back-to-back games to get eliminated from their league championship. So they're going to be coming out with revenge, if I had to guess, coming into this provincial championship.
And following that, we also have a big tennis tournament in town. So the Paul Douglas Memorial, the biggest tennis tournament that the association puts on, will go down the same weekend, 3 days. Obviously need some good weather to make it through that, but we've actually had some big players come out of Calgary and Saskatoon and Edmonton, which is good to see.
It's going to be cool to get to see some of these young tennis stars right here in our own community. I don't think people realize really how strong of a community and how strong of a group tennis actually is in Alberta. It's definitely on the larger side than people imagine. So definitely anyone local that's interested in coming out, definitely go check out this tournament, because there's going to be some good young tennis kids there. And
there's still some brief little bit of room to register. They're just about full, as they always get every year, but if you really want to compete, there's a chance. You just have to go to the tennis.ca of Lloydminster and talk to Rod Shopland about getting in. On the pro side of things, once again, we have NFL preseason games. We talked about camps earlier this weekend. Is there one preseason game you care about, or are you just simply looking forward to the regular season?
I'm looking forward to the regular season. There's a couple different teams that are going to be wild cards this year in the NFL. Going, as we've mentioned, we've previously talked on other days, Josh, the Cleveland Browns. I'm excited to see what the Minnesota Vikings can do, but obviously it's kind of exciting. That game coming up in Winnipeg, that's going to be an interesting one. But yeah, NFL season is upon us. I'm getting excited.
I'm excited as well, as we have training camps for both hockey and basketball coming up after the month of August. And don't forget, at the very end of the month, you also have the U.S. Open just getting underway. And lastly, we'll just squeeze this in a few seconds, we have some pro wrestling coming August 8th as well. So if you're a pro wrestling fan, there's something to enjoy.
I don't know a whole ton about pro wrestling, I'm not going to lie, but anytime you get something of that caliber coming to your own community, it's going to be something interesting. I'm definitely going to go check it out. I've never experienced a live wrestling event, so it's going to be electric is what I've heard.
Hopefully you'll have someone fly out of the ring and land onto your lap, so we'll be able to use that on the cast afterwards. Thanks once again, JP. It's been a blast. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
I'm Justin with Boom 101.9 and 93.7 Win FM, and here's what's happening. Lots of fun stuff, so make sure you listen up, because you are not going to want to miss out on any of this. Come by the Hills is going down just outside of Wainwright at the Mistahaya Retreat Center. It's happening August 16th and 17th. You've got a whole bunch of great bands like the Northern Pikes, Stephen Fearing, JJ Shiplet, and Angel Forest, just to name a few of the many amazing acts that you can see. Weekend passes are available. They are $65. And of course, for more information, check out 1019boom.com/events, winfm.com/events, or you can go to their website directly, comebythehills.ca. That is going to be an incredible time. Also going down that weekend, Extreme Mud Fest is taking over Bonnyville. It's happening August 15th to the 18th. You've got huge headliners, Default and Tim Hicks. That is going to be a party. Tickets are available for that as well, so make sure you check that out. They also have a whole bunch of other artists that you are going to see. Lots of fun stuff festival-wise happening. What's happening this weekend, though? The 33rd annual Irma Summer Spiel. Make sure you get out there and check it out. It is going to be a party. They've jam-packed so many events in this weekend, so make sure you check it out. That goes down till August 15th. Once again, that is the 33rd annual Irma Summer Spiel. I'm Justin with Boom 101.9 and 93.7 Win FM, and that's what's happening.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
We are out here at the Vermilion Fair with Mayor Carolyn McCauley. Economic development is something you focused on here in 2019, and that's going to be an even bigger focus over the next couple of months.
Absolutely. So over this last year, we had a retail incentive program, and what it allowed us to do was to help build some new entrepreneurs and new businesses in our community. I think last year I opened about 30 new businesses in our community, and our downtown core is pretty much filled, and so we're looking at expanding that. We have an industrial program as well, so looking at bringing in some commercial retail as well on the highway. So we have a major company coming in next year.
Okay. And so that kind of gets underway in about November, December, or right into the new year?
Our retail incentive program's already up and running, so we supported 7 businesses last year, and
But the new company that's coming in,
coming in the fall. We'll see groundbreaking. We're going to be doing some infrastructure work there, and then groundbreaking will happen in the spring.
Anything else particularly big on the horizon? I know you have many day-to-day activities. What else is particularly attention-grabbing for the moment for you guys?
Well, we're really excited to offer broadband services to our industrial sector on the 44th Avenue. So what we've done is we've partnered with a company that's bringing brand new technology. We're the first ones to trial it in Canada, actually. After it's been trialed in the States, it's going from here to Brussels and Paris. We've offered Wi-Fi at the fair this year for the first time, and we'll be moving that technology down. And we struggled with finding the telecoms wanting to provide service to our community, so we decided we would take it on ourselves and offer it as a utility, and it's going very well. So it's a great opportunity.
Absolutely. And in terms of the day-to-day operations, obviously, economically, it's been an interesting time for this general area in the Midwest. As you said, there's some progress recently, which is good to see. What's the typical daily challenge you have as a council?
I think our challenge largely is struggling with our size. We're just under that 5,000 mark, so sometimes it's hard to recruit those bigger companies to our community, but we're seeming to have a lot of traction now, and it's starting to move ahead. It just takes a lot of work, a lot of connecting. I meet with ministers regularly and with other large companies, so we're working hard to make Vermilion grow.
And is there another event coming up or another initiative maybe later into 2020 that could be a really big step for the city, that you're not there in terms of the full spectrum of it, but you want that to be where you guys get to?
That's a great point. One of the things we are looking at is we have a gap in senior level housing in our community, so a number of our residents have to leave our community before they come back for long-term care. So we're working with the government right now to look at providing that care in our community, and I'm hoping that by time the next year runs around, we have some good news to share.
And lastly, is there any other, I know there's not an event quite this scale in Vermilion coming up, but is there any other events just to shout out for people who are coming through Vermilion over the next 2 or 3 months?
Absolutely. Come to Art in the Park in September. We have the Man Band there, great opportunities. There's music, a lot of artisans, happens at the oven on Main Street, our Heritage Oven, so free food, come, it's a great event. And I think that's the second week in September.
Okay, so right after Labor Day, you still have a chance to get your paint on in the town of Vermilion.
Once again, we are back here at the Lloydminster Cultural and Science Center, and we've been talking about Heritage Day, which kicks off here on Monday. They will be starting off early with their pancake breakfast, so you definitely won't want to miss out on that. Definitely some good breakfast to be had before kicking everything else off here at 10 o'clock. As you can see behind me, they will be playing some games kind of in this area. They have those block party games as well as some other stuff to check out for sure. Definitely a bunch of team stuff. Again, tons of fun. I know it is a little wet, so just bring your boots, but the weather is supposed to be looking good, and they have a whole bunch of other stuff. We did mention the Rendell Park house tour as well with those ginger beer. As well, they have the tractor parade and tons of different stuff to check out from the Heritage Society, and learn all about how stuff was like back in the past times. So that's all we're going to have from here this week. Whatever you're doing, hope you have a great weekend. And now we'll head it back into the studio.
We are almost there for the long weekend, folks. Freedom for the Friday fans, but we have a little bit of pet business to take care of. Your pet winner of the day. You had a couple of dark horses that you were kind of hoping for.
I'm hoping for Finnegan, the pig, because he was just so cute, or the corgi, because those who know me know that I'm obsessed with corgis. So either of those two. But again, I'm going to be happy nonetheless.
We shall see if you are right. So let's roll it. Your pet winner of the week is, unfortunately, not one of Abby's picks, but cute nonetheless,
but
Waldo.
Still adorable, and I said this when it was on the day. Gorgeous photo taken of, the background and Waldo looking off into the distance and like the horizon. It's just an all-around great photo.
Nicely done, Jen Collins. You have won a free gift card from PetPad. Congratulations to Waldo, who probably doesn't know what's going on. And congratulations to us. Yes. Long weekend's here.
Yes, exactly. That's very exciting.
So, very exciting indeed. Enjoy the non-rain finally for one weekend. Enjoy the sun, certainly. And we'll see you guys back on Tuesday.